Hello, beautiful lady, and welcome to the Subconscious Expert. Today, we are diving into your strategy not working, and here's why. Because I think there is so much frustration in the entrepreneur space when you are like, I am literally doing everything. Like, I'm doing it, I'm showing up, I'm doing the content, I'm doing all the things, I'm on every platform, here I am, working my ass off. Why the fuck is nothing happening? And despite kind of having this well thought out strategy or having everything in place or doing all of the things, you are not seeing the results you expected. And I freaking get the frustration. Look, I have been there. But what I want you to know is that the answer might lie a little bit deeper than a piece of paper and a pen or another course that you might buy. The answer is probably lying deep within your brain. Yes, deep within those subconscious pathways, the neural pathways that really can significantly impact our decision making, our behavior, and ultimately the success of the strategy. And you know how passionate I am about this. You know how much I talk about this. And look, I think strategy is very important if you have the right belief system behind you. But a lot of the time, it is you as a human showing up for said strategy. So if we've got some beliefs in there, if we've got decision making and behaviors and actions coming from beliefs that are not serving you, beliefs that don't believe you can have a successful business, we need to have a look at that first. This is why I pair it together when I work with clients across all of my containers. It's pairing the subconscious with the strategy that feels aligned and really allowing you to kind of move through it. So let's break down on how this works. I want to have a look at the subconscious mind, obviously. We're called the Subconscious Expert here in this podcast. I am the Subconscious Expert. And I also want to have a look at the neuroscience perspective, because for me, I am a little bit woo-woo. I don't think people would call me that, but I have the subconscious, but I also very much bring in the science behind it, because I think it helps my clients like exponentially grow, understanding what's actually going on in their mind. And that's from the neuroscience perspective. So from the subconscious mind with this, my strategy's not working and why the fuck not? What's happening from a subconscious point of view is, like, if you've listened to me a lot, your subconscious mind controls a significant portion of our thoughts and of our actions, very much without us realizing it. You think you're in conscious, but you're probably not, Bab. You're probably not in your conscious right now. You've actually been breathing since you started listening to this podcast, but you haven't been thinking about it until I've told you. Now you're thinking about breathing. Oh, so you've been in your subconscious. Things have been happening. You've been doing the do. You've probably been walking and you haven't been going walk left, walk right, look left. There's a lot of subconscious things going on right now, even listening to this podcast, where you are a little bit conscious because you're trying to take in the information. But it's where our habits, it's where our fears, it's where our deep rooted beliefs really live. They all live there in a nice, happy family. And sometimes when these elements are not aligned with our conscious goals, it really starts to create an invisible barrier to success. And a lot of the time, the invisible barrier is you, most of the time, with your actions and behaviors. But it happens so invisibly that 6 months come round and you're like, I'm no further forwards. and I've been working my fucking ass off. What is going on? And actually, this like invisible barrier to your success is literally a protection part from your subconscious mind because of the beliefs that you have within there. Now, from a neuroscience perspective, when we look at what's going on here, our brain is absolutely wired to resist change. Now, that's not great in business because change be happening all the time, especially on social media, especially on Instagram. No one can freaking keep up with what's going on there at the moment. So our brain is really kind of wired to resist that change. And the neural pathways that create our habits, that make you do your habits every single day, are a well-trodden path in your forest, right? We all have a little forest in our heads, like I try and visually see, and you go down that same path and it's well-trodden, you know exactly where to go, so boom, 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 you go there. When we're starting to bring in new habits, a new way of doing things, a new way of thinking, a new way of being in your business, stepping into the CEO, fully owning and being in that next level for yourself, when we're really trying to kind of power up to that next level, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable and it requires real conscious effort. So what I want you to do is kind of see that these old habits and thoughts and behaviors, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with the reason why the strategy isn't working. All that's happening is you're going back to old pathways that have served you, habits that you've done for so long that it almost feels natural to do them, especially when you're either in overwhelm, you're tired, you're stressed. A lot of business owners live their life in those three words: overwhelmed, tired, and stressed. You will go back to those well-trodden paths. And when we're carving out those new paths of like new beliefs that is going to help you with your strategy, or most of the time, not even help you with your strategy, it helps you show up to your strategy, it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's not only difficult, it feels uncomfortable whilst you're doing it. And when you're trying to put in a new way of being or behavior or pattern or a new strategy or trying to do things in a new way, the resistance can almost manifest as procrastination, as self-doubt, as self-sabotage. So yes, you are doing the strategy, but what are you actually doing it? Questionable. So I wanted to have a look today at what is going on, because really anyone can learn any strategy at any given moment. There is thousands, 100 million, billion, trillion, gazillion courses out there. There is so much on YouTube. There is loads of podcasts. Strategy can be found anywhere if you sat down to find it, right? And you probably have a lot of strategy in your back pocket. My clients come to me with a lot of strategy already there, already knowing what they should, the most important word, should be doing. But it's actually how they're showing up to that strategy that's making it not work. And if you are massively, massively truthful with yourself, how are you currently showing up to that strategy? Because again, that invisible blocker probably means that you're not showing up to that strategy as much as you would probably want to be, or could be, or desire to be. Now, there's a couple of things that I see. First of all, from a subconscious point of view, is your limiting beliefs. Now, they are a significant blocker with your strategy not working, because the assumptions, the perceptions, the beliefs that you hold about yourself really stem from those past experiences that you've had. And when you have these beliefs, these whatever belief you're going through, I'm going to go through a couple of them that I see that stops the strategy in a minute. But when you sit in these beliefs, the beliefs undermine your efforts. And no matter how motherfucking solid your strategy is, your limiting beliefs will win. Because it's you that's taking the action to the strategy. And you are 95% in your subconscious. Now, these are some of them that I see when it comes to the strategy not working. Number one, you believe that earning big money, stepping into a multi-6-figure business, 7-figure business, whatever you see, earning big money takes a long time and a lot of hard work. And what I see with this is you are working hard, but probably not on the strategy that's going to get you there faster. You're busy doing a lot of busy things, and you want to keep yourself in a constant state of overworking, constantly at the laptop, 24/7, 200 hours a day. You're exhausting yourself, you're overworking, you're overthinking, you're over-delivering, you're over-learning to kid yourself that your success is going to come quicker by doing this. It is a belief that I see again and again and again and again. And that belief keeps you ingrained in finding things to do. And you're knackered. And then you create a belief that goes, well, if I've got to work this bloody hard, is it even worth it? So you're constantly in this overwork because more money or X amount of cash months equals a lot of time and a lot of work. And that's how you will then show up to your strategy. So instead of being very intentional, which is something that everyone goes, Beck, you are so unbelievably intentional in your business. How do you do it? I've worked on the beliefs around that because I know that I don't have to quote unquote work hard. I still work. I love working. I love taking action. I love being in the business, but I'm very intentional with the work that I do rather than working for working's sake, clicking around Canva, trying to make a font look a certain size on my website because I truly believe that that's going to be the thing that's going to sign me the client. You see what I mean? So that's a big one that I see. The second one that I see is my client feels like they are fighting resistance daily. Like they already have decision fatigue before 8 a.m. The resistance is that strong and that harsh on what they're trying to do with their strategy. There's so much resistance to doing the strategy that it is literally tiring. They are tired. And that resistance, again, to your strategy or to performing the strategy at the best of your ability or to actually doing the strategy at all, even just selling on Instagram, there is that much resistance to it. And that is because your subconscious is in protection mode. So resistance, whenever you feel resistance, one, it's a sign that you're moving. Well done. I'm proud of you. I want you to see resistance as like, oh shit, something's happening. Let go. And I give you the tools and techniques to be feeling safe with that, especially in Power Up, which is the 4 subconscious deep dive program that I have. But secondly, it is protecting you from the fear of failure, the fear of success, the fear of the unknown, the fear of it never happening. Insert your belief. There are many, many similar, but everyone has difference. And that means that you are in constant procrastination, constant avoidance, constant comparison scroll hole, as I call it, and someone really enjoyed that little phrase that I call it, and you are unable to move forwards. And because you're fighting resistance, you're like, again, if this is how I'm going to grow my business, how the hell am I going to cope if it gets any bigger? Because right now, I can't even sit down and write a piece of content in how I want to write it. Or I can't sit down and actually bloody sell the way I want to sell because there's so much resistance. Again, the strategy's there. You know what you should be doing, but there's resistance behind it. The next one I see, very sneaky subconscious, is you are perfecting the strategy, constantly perfecting, but not actually doing it. And that kind of love for being in the struggle, constantly tweaking, constantly adjusting your content. Maybe your content doesn't even make it out of the Google Drive. Maybe you've got about 7 programs that you've written that are sitting in your Google Drive with a full launch plan, a full strategy behind them, but they won't make it out of the Google Drive. Never feeling ready to launch, or let me make one more list on how this strategy is going to work before I sell. This constant perfection of the strategy is capping your success. So although now we're here, now we're 15 minutes into the podcast, although you think your strategy is not working, what's actually happening is you are blocking it. And it's annoying. Like, I get it. It's frustrating. Like, it literally drove me to actual tears, because I was like, I know what I should be doing. I know how I should be showing up. I know that I should be reaching out to these people that are going to get me these opportunities. Like, I know exactly what I should be doing, but I'm not fucking doing it. And why? Like, I want this life. I want these dreams. I want these goals, but I can't make myself do it. And it's because of what's going on subconsciously. The last one that I see is actually the fear of handling it. And a lot of people block themselves from the strategy because of the fear of handling it, the fear of burnout, the fear of like, wow, if I actually do this strategy and it works the way that I know it probably will work, what then? Oh shit, I will then be successful. I will then have more capacity to hold. I will then have more money to hold. Oh my God. And like, the kind of, you're worried that your success, the success of this strategy, will come at the expense of your health, of your friendships. The more money you make, the more people you have to keep happy, the more clients you have to deliver to, the more success you have to hold. It is completely that fear of the next level. And these beliefs are stopping the strategy from happening. Now, I might be opening your eyes here a little bit. I am on a little bit of a fiery, spicy podcast today. She's turned it up a notch, guys. She's here. But what I want you to do with this is go, okay, well, is it the strategy? Or is it me? And look, sometimes it is the strategy. I have clients come in and I would say 80% of what the work we do is their subconscious, 20% is the refinement of their strategy. Maybe it's messaging or kind of tweaking their positioning or tweaking how they're showing up or tweaking a sales page or tweaking a way of bringing new clients into their world. Yes, 100%. So sometimes the strategy isn't quite right and we have to refine that, which is why I do them both together as the subconscious expert. But 9 times out of 10 times out of 10, it is predominantly the subconscious that's getting in the way of the strategy from working. So what I want you to do, and kind of, I've probably brought in a couple of aha moments for you here. But what I want you to do is actually to have a look at some habitual patterns, because this is where we can start to get really aware of like, okay, is it the strategy or is it me? And really start to get aware of that. Because your habitual patterns are, again, how you're showing up in your business. And as I mentioned earlier, our brain loves routine, it hates change, and that kind of the part of your brain that really involves the habit formation, it takes time for you to really break out of those habits and establish new ones, even if the strategy requires new behaviors, which 9 times out of 10, your strategies in business require behaviors, and sometimes new behaviors, because it's maybe a new strategy or new way of doing things. Your brain will push you towards the familiar and kind of make the change difficult. This is why when people come to work with me, we do a lot of work from attraction marketing, subconscious marketing point of view. And a lot of my clients want to work with a higher caliber of client. And when we've done the work and we've put the content pieces in and everyone know exactly who their ideal client is, they still find themselves reverting back to speaking to that old client. And they're like, what? Why? I know who I'm talking to. Why am I not talking to them? Why do I keep going back to talk to this old avatar of client that I don't want to attract anymore? It's because you are so used to it. It's a habit. You just go back to it. So I want you to have a look and kind of identify some of the current habits that are going on in your business, in your behaviors, in your action taking daily, that's going to make you start to become aware of whether it's the strategy or whether it's you. So what are those daily routines and daily habits? Which ones are very beneficial to you, to your business, to your needle moving activities, if you've even got those in there, and which ones are detrimental to your goals? Which ones are being detrimental to your productivity, to how you show up in your business, to selling, to content, to offer creating, to community building, to lead generation, all of the things that we look at from a strategy point of view, and how are they beneficial or detrimental? Have a look. And if this means you time blocking, your time counting, I can't think of the word, time watching your whole day of what have I actually done today? I want you to get really honest with yourself, because that's where you start to really see what you're actually doing / not doing when it comes to the strategy in hand. I want you to also analyze your habit triggers. So what triggers the habits that are not serving you in your business? What is triggering the comparison scroll hole that you get yourself into, and then it's 3 hours later and you're still wondering why that coach is making that much money than you? Whatever that looks like. Is it a specific time? Is it a specific emotion? Is it a specific situation? Is it the fact that you've got the strategy there, but you don't know what you should be doing every day? So then you get to your desk and you're like, oh, what am I doing today? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I could do this. Maybe I could do that. Now I'm tired. Now I'll scroll because I need to numb the mind. I know. It's a pattern. It's a pattern that I see. So I want you to have a look at the habit triggers that are kind of taking you into the behaviors that are not serving your business and not serving the strategy. And then have a look at, okay, what are the new habits that I'm creating? How would they align with where I want to go? How do they align with my strategy? What's that going to look like from a strategy perspective? And start to really implement these gradually. Like we said, small, manageable steps. And really putting them in, making them very visual, making it very easy for you to use them, because your subconscious mind likes the path of least resistance. It will also go to an old habit much quicker than it will to a new. So you've really got to make sure you've got that in there as well. So hopefully this has opened your eyes to, is it strategy or is it me? And actually, if you really feel like, wow, I feel unbelievably called out from this podcast, I want you to be okay with that. One, because I've got you. That's why I'm doing this podcast and opening your eyes to it. Because two, I know that you are capable of so much, achieving so much, being so much, having so much, that I don't want you to hold you back anymore. This is why I do these types of podcasts, is to make you go, oh, okay, let's start with my subconscious mind. And if you do want that next step, what I would say to you is I would say for you to go into Power Up, which is my 4-step accelerator for scaling entrepreneurs ready to really subconsciously step into that next level by rewiring your subconscious. And again, it was very specifically subconsciously made for the female entrepreneur who is stuck in that, I know it's me that's the problem. I have the strategy, I have the tools, I have the desire, the passion, the tenacity, the drive, but for some reason, I'm not freaking doing it. So if you are sitting here, lying here, walking here, driving here, listening to this podcast, wherever you are in the world, and you're like, I do know it's me, I would jump into Power Up, because I want you to just imagine for a second you actually doing everything you've ever wanted to do in your business. Picture yourself taking the bold moves, taking the risks, stepping into the greatness that you know you're actually capable of. And that starts with the subconscious programming, because whilst other business coaches can sit there and kind of help you create a strategy, my mission is to calibrate female entrepreneurs across the globe to become like productive, action-taking, activated CEOs who show up to their business and for themselves in their fullest potential every day, despite any challenges, despite the beliefs, and despite the identity that you're currently showing up as. And it's not because I'm going to tell you what to do or how to do it. It's because I'm going to reprogram your subconscious mind to effortlessly and easily start doing them through that deep mindset work, through that subconscious work. There are 4 sessions within Power Up. So we've got your next level wealth, your next level capacity, your next level energy online, and your next level action taker. And they're really ingrained. It's a complete course that you can dive into literally today and be there with me through these subconscious breakthroughs, because a lot of the time it is the subconscious beliefs that are holding you back. It's that invisible blocker that I was talking about right at the beginning of this podcast, where you're like, I've got the well thought out strategy, I know what I should be doing, but I'm not fucking doing it, and I know it's me. So if you are there, I would say that is the most perfect place to start. You can dive in and have access to all 4 of the subconscious breakthroughs. There's hypnotherapy tracks in there, there's accountability emails from me, journal prompts, the works. It is so powerful. And I think if you are in that place at the moment where your strategy is like, I know what I'm doing, like I've said, but you're not doing it, dive in. So I hope that's brought a little bit of awareness. I'll take my spice back. I'll put it back in my kitchen pot. But I literally say this because I want the best for you. And I know that if you're listening to this podcast, you're very like me, highly driven, tenacious, ambitious, want motherfucking huge things. And if we can get your subconscious on board, by God, are you going to fly? I love you so much, and I will see you on the next episode. Mwah, mwah, mwah.